Hi, we're super close up to my face. Enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Or if you are new here, then welcome. I would love it if you would consider subscribing. Today I wanted to test out a few new products from Fenty. We'll try them on, I'll do a check-in at the end of the day to see how they've held up throughout the day, and I'll give you my thoughts on them. So the products in question are one of the new palettes from them. The palettes in and of themselves are not new, but this shade in particular is. This is the palette called Money, number 10. Now when I first talked about these palettes in a new release video a little while ago, I had said I was not going to pick them up. I had tried two of these Snap palettes before. I ended up returning them because they just did not perform well, but I was in Sephora over the weekend. I saw it in person. The colors are so pretty that I thought I'd give them a second chance. This is one of their new ones, so I'm hoping that the formula has been tweaked a little bit. I'm hoping that the shimmers last longer on my lids, but time is going to tell. I have not tried them yet, so we're finding out together. Okay, the other products, one is one of their mini mascaras in the shade Ivy League, so it's a nice deep green. And we're going to see how it shows up on my lashes. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I have tried it already, but we'll find out momentarily. And then last but not least is the newest shade in their Stunna lip paint. This is the shade Underdog. If you caught me on Britt Clark's live the other day where she was celebrating 10K, this is the lipstick that I was wearing in that video. It's beautiful. All right, so I do have MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre on my eyes already as primer. I have not set it down, so hopefully with just a tiny bit of tackiness, it's gonna help those shimmers perform in the palette. But let's go ahead and get started applying it. There are only two mattes in there. So obviously this one here and then the brown over here. What I think I'm going to do so that we can really see how the shimmers perform, I'm gonna do two different looks. I'm not going anywhere today, so it's okay if I look a little bit off. So I'm going to use the mattes on both eyes, but we're gonna do shimmers. We'll spread them out across the two. Just, I find if I jumble too many shimmers together, you don't really see how they each individually perform because they're all sort of like commingled and just hanging out with each other. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of breathing room. Just separate them a little bit for today's purposes. But I'm gonna go in with that matte green shade. And let's see how they blend and apply and all of that fun stuff. Make sure I'm in frame because that's always a pain in the butt when I go to edit and I'm like, oh, you can see this part of me. That's fantastic. Great job, Kara. So keep an eye on that. Just going in obviously with a little bit of a second application here. I think it's building really nicely. I'm not seeing much in the way of patchiness. I do have like one little spot on my lid that just, it never wants to let anything blend on top of it, so I try not to judge just based on this one area. Everything else is fair game, but just this one little patch, for whatever reason, it's just like, I don't like eyeshadow. I don't know why it can't just fall in line and behave itself, but it doesn't, and it's very stubborn. So far, I don't have any complaints about that matte. I'm going to go ahead and do the same over here. I'm just going to keep the matte shadow placements the same on both eyes. It's just the shimmers are going to look a little bit different. So be right back. All right, so there is the green applied, and I really don't have any complaints about it at all, which is great. But I am going to backtrack really quickly and just let you know that this retails for $33 Canadian on the Canadian Sephora website. It is currently sold out, but I imagine that they will restock at some point, but I found it in stores, so you can always check on the website to see if it's available in your local store. All right, so for the first eye for shimmers, I'm going to go in with these two shades here and just split them up across my lid. And then obviously for the other one, I'm going to go in a little bit more bold with those ones over there. So I'm going to try picking it up with a brush, just dry, just to see how she goes. I'm going to pat this darker one on the outer corner, the outer half, I guess, of this lid. I will say it picks up very nicely on the brush, and it is like depositing nicely on the lid as well, with no fallout on my cheek. It's moved it around a little bit in the pan, but nothing that I would complain about. I have used shimmer shadows in the past, specifically thinking of the Smoke Sessions palette from Melt, where if you go in with a brush, like the shadows just kind of crumble and move around underneath it, and it really like disturbs it in the pan. That's not what I'm seeing here, so the application of it is quite nice. I'm going to go in with a dry brush with the other shade as well, and then I will play around with a little bit of setting spray to see what kind of intensity we can build up with these shades. So I'm just going to flip the brush over, pick up that lighter shade. This one isn't picking up as nicely on the brush, but we'll see how it applies. Oof. This one I just dug in a little bit too aggressively and it didn't like that, so it kind of crumbled a little bit. Oh, and crumbled just a little bit in there. Nothing major, but okay, so this one I definitely want to play with the setting spray and see what we can do with it. This one's it's a little ho-hum for my liking for a shimmery shadow. Definitely picks up more easily on the brush once the brush itself is damp. That is better. So definitely needs the setting spray for this one. Then I'm going to do the same thing, just dampen the brush and pick up that darker green as well. It still picks up just as nicely. That looks so much better with the setting spray. So much better. Okay, I've got a clean brush over here, same kind of idea. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this dark green shade here, and then I'll put the yellow on the inner portion. I think I'm going to do most of the lid with the green and then the yellow on the inner, like, third of the lid instead of just the inner half. Again, it picks up really nicely on the brush, as you can see. Let's see how it actually applies. Absolute first impression is that it's really nice. Like, I'm not seeing any patchiness to it. This one didn't look as metallic in the pan either, so the fact that it's not as like foiled as this shade here isn't really surprising to me. And I'm actually kind of happy about that, because then I can also use it on my lower lash line more easily than if it was a full-on like metallic finish. But because it's so deep, I am going to spend some time blending where that shadow, like where the edge of it is. I'll do that in a moment. Oh, I really hope that these perform well throughout the day. Like, I really hope that it doesn't disappoint me, because that is so pretty. That's such a pretty shade. Okay, let's go in with the gold. The gold looks to be the most metallic in the pan. So we'll see how she does. It is picking up on the brush, but not as easily as the deeper greens have been. So I suspect that this is going to be the same kind of situation as this shade here, where it's really going to be reliant on the setting spray, but we'll find out in just a moment. like brush pickup notwithstanding, what it does pick up, it's putting down really nicely. That is so pretty. That one I can feel a little bit of fallout on my cheeks. This one is a little bit more crumbly in the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and just dampen my brush up. I'm like bracing for impact because I think it's going to look incredible applied damp. Yes, please. Oh my goodness. Although I can still feel a little bit of that fallout coming down. But I'm not mad at it because it's not sticking to my face. There are a few little flecks. I'll go ahead and get rid of them in a moment, but oh, the shade's so pretty. This eye puts this eye to shame. This just looks like a watered down version of this one. Okay, oh, I'm happy with that. All right, so before I get into like the finessing of blending and all that, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply the brown matte shade here along the lower lash line. We're keeping it super basic today, but sometimes that's better for testing out how the like shadows actually perform throughout the day. This is the thing, pretty much any shadow is gonna look nice when you first apply it, but if it ends up all over your face or just blended into nothing, or if the shimmers just disappear over the course of the day, it doesn't really matter how pretty it is when you first apply it, because you're still gonna be disappointed by it. And I'm just really hoping that I'm not disappointed by this one because it's so pretty. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting so whiny about it. I was like, felt personally attacked with the other two that I had, that I'm like, why don't you stay on my lids? What's wrong with you? It was just the shimmers just like disappeared over the course of the day. I'm like, where did you go? It just like evaporated off of my eyes. It was really annoying. It didn't matter what base I used with it. So I was very reluctant about these ones. And as you can see, I'm still very skeptical. But the color story of this one in particular just spoke to me. All right, now once I have my liner on, we're gonna go ahead and play with the mascara, then we'll apply the lipstick, and then I'll go about my day. Hold on. All right, so I just kept the liner very simple so that we can focus on the shadows and the mascara. This is the Full Frontal Volume Lift and Curl Mascara. Again, I have it in the shade, oh crap, what's it called? Ivy League, which is a really deep green. They also released a burgundy option as well, although I did not pick that one up. It retails for $18 Canadian, and I can't remember if I just said or not, but it is only available in the mini size, the colorful options. There is a full-size black option. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply and see how we get on with this one. Now I do find, unless it's a really bright mascara, the upper lashes tend not to show up as much, especially applying green against green shadow. I'm really not expecting it to show up all that much, but the bottom lashes is where we're really going to get a clear indicator as to how pigmented it is. Hi, we're super close up to my face. Enjoy. All right, so as suspected, the upper lashes don't really show up. There's green eyeshadows going on, there's black liner. I didn't really expect that it would show up, but I do see it on the lower lash line. And so for that reason, I'm really glad that it is just a mini option, because I would definitely wear this on the lower lashes. I just don't think that I'm going to bother trying to apply it to the upper lashes. Also, take the color aside, just in terms of the overall performance of the mascara, it's not a mascara that I'm super wowed by. Like, it's not bad. Like, it hasn't clumped everything up or anything of that sort, but nor has it really, what did it say? It was Full Frontal Volume Lift and Curl. I don't really think it's done any of those things. Like, I don't really see a huge amount of lift to it. Yeah, it's sort of run-of-the-mill, in my opinion. There are better mascaras on the market, at least for my lashes, but I would continue to use this on my lower lash line. It's subtle, but I expected it to be subtle just given the color that the formula is. It's not like a bright Kelly green or neon or anything of that sort, so I didn't really expect it was going to be like, bam, here's my mascara. But I like it for something different. It's It's subtle, but it is definitely there and it is noticeable. It's just noticeable if you're like this close to me. So not a dud, in my opinion, not a dud at all. But I don't think that I'd be advocating to go out and buy like the full size of the black mascara, or, you know, banging down Fenty's door to make the full size of these colored mascaras. I like the mini option, I really do. But we're gonna see how it wears throughout the course of the day and see if it ends up all in like a pool on my cheeks later on today or not. But for now, we're gonna move on to the SNAIL lip paint. I do have a little bit of lip balm on my lips right now, so I'm just going to be a heathen and just wipe it off with my fingers because we're all class over on this channel. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a shake. We're gonna go ahead and apply that. Now, if you're not familiar with these, they are a very liquidy liquid lipstick. The doe foot has remained the same since they first released these. Just a nice, unique looking little doe foot, but it's actually quite precise and I really do like it. There we go. I think it's a beautiful color, like beautiful, vampy, deep burgundy shade. I love it. This is the kind of color that I will wear between now and like March. Like I love this shade. I'm actually really digging it with the green as well. And then like this like weird mustardy brown, whatever color this shirt is, I'm really digging it. Here, there, now you can see the shirt. Also, fun fact, side note, I need to toot my own horn for a moment. This shirt, I just bought it over the weekend from H&M. It's a size large. What? It's a size large and it's still roomy on me. Last year I was wearing a 4X. So my SD card just ran out of memory and I'm not entirely sure where it decided was the cutoff point. So love that for me. I'm hoping that we got the mascara and the lipstick application on film. I'm hoping, but we'll see. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and go about my day, and then I'm going to check in at the end of the day to see how the mascara and the eyeshadow in specific are holding up. The lipstick, I can say from experience, these lipsticks you do have to touch up as you go about the day. They are long lasting, but they're not indestructible. It's a liquid lipstick. It is a very comfortable formula, and you saw, hopefully, as I applied it, just how pigmented it is. Like there's no patchiness to this shade at all. It's beautiful. And yeah, I will say it's not all over my teeth, so there's that as well. It has dried down. These are not like completely transfer proof. If I do like the little kiss test, there is some showing up on my hand, not a ton. But for being such a liquidy formula, it does dry down very nicely. Like it doesn't stay super wet, which is good, because if it did, it would be everywhere. I can handle this level of transfer, and the more it transfers off, obviously it settles down even more. But it's not an 8-hour lipstick. To be honest, I've never met a lipstick that is an 8-hour lipstick. So any claims like that, I'm just kind of like, are you though? Are you really? So it's long lasting, but not indestructible, as I said. All right, so I'm going to check in with you in a bit. It is currently 3 o'clock, which means my daughter's gonna be home from school very soon. So it's 3 o'clock. I'm going to try to get at least 7 hours in before I do the check-in so that we can really put it to the test and really see just how these shadows and the mascara hold up. I'll see you at the end of today. And we're back. It is now 10:30 at night, so about 7.5 hours since I applied the shadow, and it's time to take a look and see how it's holding up. So, I'm so happy. It's holding up beautifully. Like those metallics are still shiny. They've transferred up a bit, but that happens on me because I have hooded eyes. So that's gonna happen no matter what shadow I wear. Like, is there any fallout on my face? No, there's not. A little bit of the like foiled aspect of it has kind of transferred down a little bit. It's not offensive to me. That doesn't really bother me. And again, it's something that happens very frequently. The mascara also has not transferred down. I'm still not super wowed by like the actual mascara in terms of like the curling and the lifting and all that. It's not terrible, but I don't think it's fantastic. But I really do like that it shows up on my black lashes and you can see it. Like I said, I have tried 2 of those palettes before and I was extremely underwhelmed by them. The shimmer shadows just became super patchy and just basically wore away during the course of the day. These are beautiful. These I'm so impressed by, and I'm so relieved because I love the color story so much and I really didn't want to be mad at it. And I'm not really tempted to go out and buy any more, but I'm going to be very grateful for what I have. So this guy's a winner. I'm so happy about that because the shades are just so perfect. I love it. Okay, I'm very happy with that. And the mascara, like I said, it's good for the purpose that I bought it for. If you're buying it for actual mascara and not just to color your lashes, I would recommend looking elsewhere, but mascara is one of those very individual things. I don't think I've heard anybody talking about the Fenty mascara, so I'm not sure. There's probably reviews on it somewhere, but I haven't stumbled across any. The lipstick, obviously, I have touched it up for the purposes of filming this portion of the video. The only thing I would say about it, it is a very comfortable lipstick to wear, but as it starts to fade, it fades from the center of the lips faster than anywhere else. And because it's such a dark shade, it does look very obvious. I don't think that's really unique to this lipstick in particular. I think basically any liquid lipstick is going to behave that way. But I just point that out because if you really like the dark lip, you just kind of have to keep your eye on it. I'm prepared to do that because I love the look of it so much, but it is something you got to keep your eye on, especially when there's this much contrast between your skin and the lipstick. All right, with all that said, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Overall, I'm pleased with these releases. I am glad that I gave these a second chance. I'm very, very relieved and very happy. This is the winner for me for sure. The lip shade, absolutely. You can find the same color in any other number of formulas, but for what it's worth, I really do like this one. And the mascara is good for what I purchased it for, but this one is most definitely the winner out of the 3 for me. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.